Fallout from the guilty verdicts, meanwhile, for Jennifer Crumbley still sinking in for families, prosecutors, and police across the country, not just here. The mother of the Oxford high school shooter, the first parent to be held criminally responsible for a child's deadly actions. Jury foreperson giving us more insight into those verdicts. She appeared exclusively on the Today Show with Savannah Guthrie.
For me, I just feel like Jennifer didn't separate her son from the gun enough to save those lives that day.
You felt she was the last person known to have had custody of the gun.
Yes.
And then somehow it ends up in his hands.
And I think the responsibility of securing the weapon then falls on her.
Jury, of course, found Crumbley guilty on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. She'll be sentenced April 9th, facing a maximum of 15 years. She's been behind bars already for 2 years. Now, the verdicts will likely be appealed. They have plenty of parents wondering about their legal responsibilities if they happen to be coping with a child who's troubled. More families may feel pressure to get some help, but some say finding that help can be very challenging just now. Paula Tutman live with one mother's emotional journey. Paula.
Gina didn't know her son was spiraling with learning disabilities and mental health struggles.
Back in 2008, when he was 12, even prior to that, that wasn't a space or an area that even myself had not heard of a lot of these different disorders.
That was then, this is now. Her son continued to decline, his mental health struggles becoming part of his overall disabilities until mental health decline met uninformed law enforcement.
You know, there was a struggle. So now it went from a mental health issue to now you gotten tased and arrested.
Gina educated herself to understand what was happening to her son. Now working on her doctoral dissertation, the story is the same for many, many people, Gina says, particularly young men of color.
My son, with being undiagnosed, there is a word construct for that, and it's called pipeline to prison. There is over 47% of the people who, particularly Black males, who are incarcerated, have learning disabilities.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Rose Moten, Local 4's resident mental health expert, says these days mental health decline is on a sharp incline.
You have children that are growing up from the age of 3, 4, 5, they're playing violent games where the goal is to murder individuals, and they're being desensitized. When we grew up, Paula, we played outside.
Yes, immediate hands-on resources can be tough to find depending on where you live and what's available at a time when demand for mental health services can exceed supply.
If your child says anything or you just feel your child is a potential threat to themselves or a potential threat to someone else, if they're suicidal or they're potentially homicidal, get them to an emergency room, a hospital emergency room. Let them be evaluated. Sometimes that can speed up the process.
We're all failing these young people because these are invisible disabilities. You don't have a physical observation. You don't see that there's something wrong with them.
You have to ask for referrals. You go to the school, see if there are school mental health individuals that perhaps can be in the interim before you get them consistent services with the outside mental health therapist. Advocate, advocate, advocate.
Yeah, and there are also resources that are available, including the 988 suicide hotline, in which you do not have to be specifically feeling suicidal in order to get navigation, help, or even some de-escalation. And our wonderful ClickOnDetroit.com team, they've put together a resource guide on our website so that you can see what is indeed available in your area as well. Stay with me at 6. We take you inside mental health decline with someone who's been there and survived it. Devin?
You got it, Paul. And so happy we've got that resource guide because so many people just don't know exactly where to even start. All right, more from Paula coming up here tonight at 6.